use paper to build. We don't usually think of paper as being strong because it's flimsy and it's easy to rip. This sheet of paper couldn't hold up this brick unless we folded it in a special way. Instead of using flat pieces of paper, we're going to use different shaped 3D forms. Do you know what the strongest shape is? Maybe you'll figure it out after you try this project. First, we're going to make some building blocks out of paper. So you'll need some sheets of any kind of paper. I've got some old mail that I'm using, and I also have some construction paper and some colored printer paper. You'll need a pencil, some tape, a scissor, and a ruler of some sort, or if you don't have a ruler, you can use the edge of a book. First, I'm going to cut my paper into strips. So stack up your paper so that it's in a neat pile. And I'm going to take my ruler, straight edge, put it on the very edge of my paper, and make a line all the way down. Then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to line up my ruler right on my pencil line. Here's my line. I'm going to draw my next line right next to it. And then I'm going to draw another line right next to that one. And I'm going to keep going until I've reached the end of the page. I don't have space for any more on the edge, so I'm just going to stop there. Okay, now I'm going to fold my paper, keep it together, make sure the edges are all lined up, and I'm going to cut along the going to use these last skinny bits here. Okay, so now I've got lots of strips of paper. I'm going to cut these all. First I'm going to make sure that they're all the same length because some are longer than others. So I'm going to cut off the extra. Okay, so they're all about the same length now, but they're still a little bit too long. So I'm going to take some of my strips, stack them together. I'm going to fold them in half like that. Make sure they're lined up at the edge so They're really even. And then I'm going to cut them in half. So they're about that big. Okay, I've got a big stack of small strips. I'm ready to start making my forms. The first form I'm going to make is a triangle. So here's the tricky part. I want to make sure I fold my paper into 3 equal parts. So I'm going to take the 2 ends and make sure that each end is touching and not really overlapping. Then I'm going to fold it down nice and flat. Really make sure that the edges are pressed well. And I open it up and I have 3 sections. Now I take a piece of tape. I just need a small piece of tape. Just a very small piece of tape. I want to try not to use too much on each shape because I know I'm going to have a lot of shapes. I take my tape, attach it to one end, and then I'll take my other open end. I want to make sure I line them up. And tape it so that there's no gaps on the top. Okay, so now I have one building block, my first triangle. I'm going to do this a little bit faster by folding several pieces at the same time. So I'm going to kind of have to play around with it until they fit right, and then I'm going to fold them. I've got a bunch that I can make a bunch of triangles. I've got some pieces of tape. Again, my tape is half on this end, and then the other half is going to go around the other end. Okay, so now I have 2 triangles. Let's make one more. There's 3 triangles. Once you have all your triangles made, then start to put them together. Again, I'm just using a small piece of tape. As long as they fit together, there's so many possibilities of how you can do it. Now that's strong. You can also use other shapes besides triangles. Here's a structure out of cylinders. To make the cylinders, we'll take the same size strips, roll them, overlap just a little bit, tape it together, and oops, that one is a little crooked. Tape it together, and there you go. Okay? The most important thing is that your strips start off the same size. Happy building. Show me what you've built, and remember there's lots of different ways you can arrange them. You can even come up with your own ideas for 3D shapes.